Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News, the show that may or may not be 5 minutes. Today in the news, we're starting off the week with some fresh speculation. You know who's the likes working in the rumor mill. According to one insider, it appears the next installment of the Mass Effect series will ditch open world and go back to the franchise's classic format. The rumor comes from Windows Central's Jez Corden on the latest episode of his podcast, the Xbox 2 Podcast. During a conversation evaluating the pros and cons of studios taking risks versus sticking with what they know. I've heard that Mass Effect is ditching open world, Corden said, and going back to its classic format. I don't know if that's accurate 100%, but it's an industry rumor. So obviously it's a rumor said on a podcast, so take that for what it's worth. But the idea of them ditching this whole, everything's got to be more open world, everything's got to be bigger and bigger and bigger, and just returning to the mission-based format of Mass Effect, which is what made 1 through 3 so great. Here for it, love it, more of that, please. Having recently played through the original trilogy and then tried to get through Andromeda, the difference is dramatic. And honestly, if they could get us back in that space of what Mass Effect 2 felt like, just deliver on that again. That's all I want. That's such a good experience. It was so well done. I need more of that. I mean, like, if we're gonna talk about what RPG should be moving forward, the big takeaway for me personally is more Baldur's Gate 3, more player agency, more options, more replayability, and a more contained world than just making it open for the sake of making it open to feel like it's bigger than it actually is. Although, talking about Mass Effect means you have to talk about BioWare, and maybe we won't get another Mass Effect game. With all the recent BioWare layoffs and what we know of Dragon Age 4's rocky development cycle, on top of the rough releases of Anthem and Andromeda, I have a feeling that the whole next Mass Effect is entirely riding on the success of the next Dragon Age. And we will all find out whether it's successful or not. Probably sometime next year. In other role-playing game news, the jury is still out on whether Bethesda's next Elder Scrolls game will be an Xbox exclusive or not. Last week, during an interview with Bloomberg, Phil Spencer was asked if the highly anticipated and far, far down the pipeline Elder Scrolls 6 would be an Xbox exclusive. Spencer shared, "We look at it on a case-by-case basis with the games that we build," he replied. "We want to make sure our games are available in so many different places on our Xbox consoles, on PC, also via cloud. These games can come to almost any web-enabled device. We're looking at millions and millions of players who have access to Starfield and other Xbox Game Studio games. It's really about giving players choice around how they want to play, and they build their library of games." Which is a Matrix-level dodge, because the question was, is it just going to be on Xbox? And he was like, bro, Xbox is more than just the console. It's on PC. You can stream to your TV. You can do a lot of things. There's a lot of ways to play our games. Not even addressing that the question was about PlayStation or Nintendo or, something else. And it's pretty obvious he's trying not to talk about it, but, he already has. Back in November of 2021, Spencer appeared to suggest Elder Scrolls 6 wouldn't be available on PlayStation when he said adopting an exclusivity strategy is not punishing another system. However, just this past July, during Microsoft's battle with the FTC, Spencer's stance on the game became a bit more vague. With Elder Scrolls 6 so far out, it's hard to understand what the platforms will even be. We're talking about a game that's 5+ years away, he said. Again, solid Matrix dodging. He very clearly is saying, I don't want to answer this question because, who knows what the space is going to be 5 years from now, but not giving any real answer. I think you don't have to be all that smart to understand they're trying to go for exclusivity. That's the objective at the end of the day. And Todd Howard pretty much gave it away when he was saying in an interview recently that, hey, look, Zelda is linked to Nintendo, so why is it so wrong for you to think about Starfield and Xbox or something like that? And yeah, that could be the way they go from now on. Elder Scrolls, that's an Xbox thing. You're always thinking about Xbox and Elder Scrolls, or Microsoft and Elder Scrolls, right? Just like Nintendo Zelda or Nintendo Mario. And yeah, I mean, PlayStation has its games you think about, you're like, oh, that's a PlayStation title. I guess that's kind of where we're going now in the future of gaming. Can't say I likes it, but it does seem to be the way things are. The big three, buying up all the different name brand things that we all recognize. And if you want to play that, you're playing it on that specific console. You're not going to get it anywhere else. Which again, I think is part of Microsoft's like grand plan, because they're everywhere. You don't need a console to play most of the games that you could play on a console. If you want to play Starfield, you have a lot of ways to play it compared to a Sony game where it's on the PlayStation and that is it, or a Nintendo game where it's on the Nintendo and that is it. Xbox is like, we're going to be everywhere. Your PC, your TV, wherever you want us to play, we'll be there for you. And it's a good strategy, but it is an expensive one. And if they screw anything up, if they have some bad releases, that could cost them. But hey, Microsoft has more money than God, so maybe it doesn't matter in the end. Maybe they just flood the market and in the end, push the competition out. We'll see over the next 5 years, like Spencer said. Anyway, it's Monday, so that means it's time for new releases. Starting off, we've got Gunbrella, which releases across Steam and on the Switch September 13th. In Gunbrella, you play as the Woodsman, a man armed with a unique weapon, the Gunbrella, which, as you guess, simultaneously works as a gun and umbrella, allowing you to not only shoot but also block incoming damage, and even traverse various environments. Princess Peach wishes she had a parasol that could do that. Prepare to explore a grim noir punk adventure through dystopian society filled with ghouls, gangsters, and the scariest foe of gaming, corporate exploitation. And then, on the 14th, what do you get when you combine bullet-blazing gameplay with adorable amphibians? You get Axolotl, which releases this Thursday. In this top-down pixelated roguelike, players take on the role of an axolotl armed with an AK who sets out to kick ass across the animal kingdom. Throughout your journey, you'll find baby axolotls, collect power-ups, take down bosses, and more. Who knew these salamanders with regenerative abilities could pack a punch? Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks again to everyone who subscribes and likes and shares these videos, who watches them to the end, this bit right now. Thank you. It really helps. Watching the entire video pays off in ways you can't even imagine on the back end with YouTube analytics. Means the world to me. I'll see y'all tomorrow for another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News.